What do these two have in common with EUCs? Rolling resistance. Yes, I cheated, but you get the point. This one has knobby tire. This one has smooth tire. I had to cheat because this one is bigger, this one's smaller. It's at a disadvantage, but you get my point. The less knobby your tire is, the less resistance you're supposed to have. That's just the facts. This leads us to this reality, okay? Here it is. You have two different tires. This shouldn't be counterintuitive, but for some it is. Less tread, more tread. Less resistance, more resistance. Less grip, a ton more grip. But see, these two tires obviously have their own purpose. Off-roading or riding in the rain, a lot more grip. Riding in the rain, riding on the street, a lot more speed and maneuverability. The main reason is because of this. If you look, you'll see the knobbies. The problem with this knobby is that it's more of a square than it is a circle. If you look here, this is more of a curve, which helps with maneuverability. This is precisely why it's designed like this. I'm not sure why this particular knobby is designed like this unless it was meant for off-roading. It's pretty funny because this is a high-speed version, not a torque version. So here's the basic physics behind what we're looking at. What we're looking at is very simple. I'm gonna make this real short. This versus this. Which of the two has better maneuverability, better performance in terms of range, and just better ride feel in general? Now I will say though, the knobby, okay, let's make this a real knobby. The knobby tends to have a better experience over unleveled terrain, so bumps, potholes, etc. You'll have a better experience with this for sure, because not only do you have the tire, meaning the tire size, because it's much thicker in order to compensate for the knobby, versus this, there's less tire, so more tire, less tire. All right, this one has more of a shock absorbing characteristic to it versus this, where it clearly does not. So the experience with this is going to be beautiful if you're a street rider. This is going to be beautiful if you're worried about bumps and you like off-roading. The rolling resistance on this one is a lot shorter or a lot smaller. The rolling resistance on this one is a lot higher. More range, less range. So there you have it. I don't know where that smudge came from. So this is precisely why I feel that if you're a street rider, this is the way to go. The experience I had with this knobby was just embarrassing. I literally put my EXN away for a very long time for that particular reason. It just felt unrideable. Yes, I tried to get used to it because a lot of you did mention that I should try to get used to it, and I did. I brought it to New York, etc. But I'll tell you what, riding in traffic was not the best experience at all because the maneuverability just wasn't there. And it makes sense because it's fighting against you. Whereas this, oh, highly recommended. Alright guys, I hope you enjoy this video because this is the last time you're going to see me riding on a knobby setup. Alright, I'm not really fond of this setup at all, merely because there's less maneuverability. I love the sound of the tire, 100%. I love the stability of the tire. As long as you're going straight, this thing feels as if you're planted, okay? It's similar to the Sherman. It's the same experience I had with the Sherman the first time I experienced it. I was like, wow, this Sherman feels insanely stable. But the moment I attempted to do maneuvering or left and right through traffic, etc., or to avoid any type of, obstacle, I could never get the confidence down. But when I compare that to a road tire, it's just night and day. And I'm used to a road tire. This is my first time truly experiencing a knobby tire for an extended period, and I can't say I love it. I can't say I will love it. Now, with the KS20, interesting enough, I actually enjoyed the knobby tire because it felt a little bit more rounded. One thing I noticed, or you will notice if you watched my KS20 video, is that I was able to throw it left, throw it right, easily, effortlessly. Why? Because it's a different setup. Although it's knobby, it's rounder around the edges, or at least there are less knobs at the edges. And so that makes it fight you a lot less. Whereas this one, as I showed you in the earlier part of the video, it's a lot more restrictive. You know what I mean? So if you need confidence, which you absolutely do, going through tight traffic or tight spaces, then it's just going to constantly act against you. And this is where I lose a lot of my confidence with this knobby setup. Now, I love the sound, like I said. One reason I absolutely love the sound is because number one, it sounds fantastic, like an F1 car. Number two, it allows people who are around you to hear what's coming, okay? It absolutely alerts people, hey, something is coming. I'm not sure what it is, but I can clearly hear the whine. Whereas with my street tire, it's pure silence. But you know what? I would trade that any day for the freedom I feel riding such a beautiful high performance machine that is the EXN. Now, I've owned the EXN for a while now, but you haven't been seeing me ride the EXN merely because I don't want to damage the wheel. And if I have no confidence riding a wheel, I'm not gonna push it to its limit. I'm not even gonna push it in traffic. So whenever I pull out the EXN, it's usually late at night when there's no traffic. It's usually, well, minus the time I brought it to New York, but even when I brought it to New York, I wasn't really on it like that. You know what I mean? Fortunately for me, New York has a grid setup, so I really didn't have to maneuver around traffic like I would in Boston. But the road setup is just beautiful, man. If you're still on the fence about whether you should switch to a knobby or you should switch to a street tire, my recommendation for you is to switch to that street tire ASAP. Number one, you get more range, you get more speed, you get more maneuverability. It's a beautiful ride. Number two, I mean, with the knobby, maybe you're concerned that, you know, switching the tire might cause some headache because you'll have to take off the panels, you'll have to disconnect some cables, you might short your circuits and might have to get a brand new board. Listen, just take your time and do it right. The beautiful thing about this EXN is that the setup is a lot different than the earlier Gotway MSX or MSP. It makes the job a lot easier to remove the cable from the main board, which is number one, my biggest complaint in the past. But now with this EXN, it's a beauty to do. Now putting it back might be a little challenge. What I did was I wrapped a cord around the cables. That's the 3 motor wires and then the 1 controller cable. And I pulled it back through the hole, kind of like fishing it back in. Now, as you see, I'm driving through traffic here. Guys, I was not confident at all going through that traffic. Fortunately, I'd driven this wheel a couple nights back, so I got used to the knobby. But one thing I hate about it is if I attempt to do any sudden maneuvers, this thing is, if you're unaware of what's going on with this wheel, it will punish you right away. But on this beautiful stretch, as you can see, I'm literally flying. My top speed here was 45 miles an hour. That's normal. I could do that on my high-speed MSP, no problem. But the fact that this knobby tire was so planted gave me a lot of confidence. But you could always feel it restricting you. You can always feel that it was pulling you back because of that rolling resistance. Rolling resistance is a thing, okay? It's a thing. You have more tread on your tire, expect more resistance. It's that simple. You have less tread, expect more of an ice skating rig experience. where you can literally fly and do all kinds of crazy tricks, and you're motivated to do it because of that confidence. I am here to get tools to change this knobby tire. Not loving it. It's too squirrely, man. So that's just my last spiel for you guys. I hope you enjoy your EXN if you do have one. I hope you enjoy your street tire on your EXN if you've already switched over. But this is me on just going around the block, not really doing long long riding or anything, but I just wanted to get that feel in, and absolutely it's just a different world. What I can absolutely look forward to is longer range, better experience, more maneuverability. As heavy as the EXN is, the knobby tire made it a little bit more heavier because there's just more tire. It's common sense. But this road tire makes me feel like a bird, literally. So guys, expect more rides coming out on this beautiful EXN. Now when I go to New York, I'm not really concerned because I have a true EXN, an EXN. Now if I had a torque EXN, that would make a lot of sense to have the knobby, because I can imagine most people probably get the torque EXN for off-roading situations. Maybe not, I don't know, that's just my guess. But guys, thank you for watching, and till next time, happy riding. Wow! Now that's what I'm talking about, man. This is a great tire. Knobby, forget about that, man. No way. This is what I'm talking about. It's like I got a new wheel. It's like I got a brand new wheel. How you doing? This is fantastic. Oh my God. Knobby, throw that out. Throw that wheel out. You're losing a ton of performance out of the knobby. Oh man. Alright. Peace out, guys. We'll ride again later. I just wanted to give it a feel. Feel it out.